you work in agriculture or have a backyard garden, you've probably heard of hydroponics. In reality, an earlier iteration of this technology was used to construct Babylon's hanging gardens, thus it is not entirely new. But with two advancements in scientific knowledge, we can now use hydroponics to generate more food while using fewer resources. The essential concept behind a hydroponic farm is the replacement of earth with water. In order to add readily available nutrients for a healthy production, solutions are then added to the water. The fertilizers added to the water may also include phosphorus, nitrogen, calcium, potassium, and other elements, depending on the plants being grown. A hydroponic food garden has many advantages. They are known to produce vegetables more quickly than traditional growing techniques and with higher nutritional content. They can assist in problem solving without consuming a large quantity of water or space. This sort of agriculture almost certainly will be the primary source of fruits and vegetables in the future. Compared to plants cultivated on soil, hydroponically grown plants require far less space. Vertical farming techniques combined with hydroponics can use up to 97% less land than traditional farming techniques, depending on the technology. Due to the fact that their roots do not need to spread out in search of moisture and nutrients, hydroponic plants have a smaller negative influence on the environment. Water and nutrients are directly applied to the roots either infrequently or continuously, depending on the hydroponic technology being used. Because each plant's root system can take up considerably less space, more plants can be grown in a smaller space. The use of vertical stacking methods demonstrates how much less area is needed for a hydroponic garden to flourish than a traditional one. Contrary to popular opinion, planting the same plants in water instead of soil actually requires less water. In reality, plants grown hydroponically can use up to 98% less water than those grown conventionally. Why is this important? According to a 2019 World Health Organization report, just 71% of the world's population has access to a service that provides clean drinking water. By 2025, half of the world's population will live in areas with limited water resources. Agriculture irrigation will become more difficult and less economical as water conservation becomes a more pressing issue over time. Approximately 0.1% of the water taken up by a plant's roots is actually used by the plant. Most of them are then vaporized and released into the atmosphere. Hydroponic systems allow plants to absorb the water they need before returning the extra to the system by using recirculated water. Even as it expands year after year, global food production uses more water than ever before. According to standard methods, a single cup of lettuce is estimated to require 3 gallons of water. The amount of water needed to grow 2.7 ounces of broccoli is around 11 gallons. In addition, for every 4.3 ounces of tomatoes you consume, 8 gallons of water were used in the cultivation process. It seems that if we are serious about preserving water, hydroponics is an important step in the process. Hydroponic plants can be easily contained inside a hydroponic greenhouse or other structure. They are therefore shielded from many of the problems that conventional farmers find difficult to resolve and even manage to cultivate their own microclimates. They are not vulnerable to pests and don't require treatment with a range of insecticides. In temperature-controlled settings, plants can be grown year-round regardless of the outside climate or weather. Additionally, artificial grow lights do not have an issue with the amount of sunlight that is available. It is ensured that plants receive the optimal amount of nutrients, which come into direct contact with roots, by fostering the right conditions. Microclimates also facilitate year-round growth and more rapid agricultural rotations. Modern farming methods provide yields that are much higher by combining all of these elements. In fact, we found that compared to traditional growing methods, the yield from our hydroponic greenhouses can be as much as 240 times higher. Since there is no need for tilling, weeding, applying herbicide and pesticide, or other labor-intensive farm operations, hydroponics offers a lighter workload for workers and can easily be handled with much fewer man-hours. By doing this, you can cultivate crops for less money and have more time for other things. Actually, one part-time person may manage a small hydroponic greenhouse completely. Workable soil is rapidly disappearing from the earth. According to reports, half of the world's topsoil has been lost in the last 150 years. Salinity, nutrient degradation, compaction, loss of soil structure, and erosion all contribute to this. What does this mean for agriculture? We need to feed more people, but there isn't as much soil to work with. Additionally, there are significant regional differences in soil quality, and many plants have strong affinities for particular soil types. Therefore, conventional farmers are limited to growing crops that are suitable with the soil in their region. In the majority of the world, few crops can be grown using traditional techniques. In hydroponic gardens, farmers can grow whatever crops would be most beneficial to their society without worrying about soil damage. When it comes to fruits and vegetables, the fresher, the better. Because of the climate and soil, very few people are fortunate enough to live in an area where they can always find fresh produce. So how can we ensure that the majority of people on Earth have access to nutritious food year-round? The approach has historically been to harvest the food before it is ripe and allow it to ripen in storage facilities and along the supply chain. On occasion, ethylene gas may be used to artificially ripen produce that was prematurely picked. If conventionally cultivated foods are to reach consumers in other areas, this is crucial. Naturally ripened food typically has more nutrients and tastes better. Almost anything may be used to grow these crops because hydroponic gardens have their own microbiomes. Because they won't have to travel very far to reach the homes and businesses where they will be consumed, they can be harvested at their ripest. Naturally, there are benefits to local food production in addition to those of ripening. Traditional commercial agricultural operations need a lot of water and energy to produce crops and improve outputs. Crops are then harvested with an even greater effort. They travel over long distances on trains or gasoline-burning refrigerated trucks to get to the stores. To extend the shelf life of the finished product, they are typically chemically preserved. In fact, hydroponics allows for the elimination of a sizable percentage of this energy consumption. Hydroponic greenhouses can be constructed in locations where traditional farms would never be successful. This shows that they can satisfy local needs without squandering money on shipping or questionable preservation methods. High-quality produce can be grown locally, especially in metropolitan areas, and then provided to the community due to the decrease in waste and improvement in freshness. Everyone has witnessed it. When bought during the summer, strawberries are cheap, delicious, and fresh. You may have to pay up to 3 times as much for berries that don't even come close to taste as fantastic if you try to get them in the winter. Seasonality is a drawback of conventional farming methods. Additionally, unpredictable weather patterns that can swiftly wipe out an entire crop must be dealt with by farmers. Natural catastrophes, such as floods, fires, droughts, pest problems, and others, can happen anywhere at any moment. A severe disaster may also affect the entire food chain if it occurs in the area that produces a particular crop. In a hydroponic greenhouse, the grower controls the environment. This implies that you can grow and harvest strawberries even in the dead of winter. No matter how many pests are present in the nearby fields, if a locust swarm passes by, the greenhouse will protect your valuable crops from damage. The option to enter into longer-term, fixed-price wholesale contracts is now available to growers. And they'll always make sure to provide. Most fruits and vegetables take many months to mature when cultivated properly. Plants may need some time to receive nutrients from the soil. They frequently lose the nutrients they absorb as they mature. Between 30 and 50% more fast than a plant cultivated in soil, a hydroponic plant grows. When employing hydroponics, nutrients are more easily accessible for the plant to eat. Every aspect of the growing process, including light, heat, nutrients, hydration, pests, and more, is entirely under the farmer's control. This suggests that for plants that grow larger, faster, and generate a higher yield, the entire process can be sped up. This is all for today. Thank you for staying with us. Don't forget to like and subscribe our channel. See you soon.